Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. This is episode 7 of the Canadian Geekcast, and today I'm joined by Steph.
What's up,
who's
everyone?
finally returning to us.
Yeah, I'm back. What adventure did I have last week?
Karaoke, I think it was.
Sick. Before that.
Yes. I think we just said it was karaoke. Or no, there was something about babysitting a boy, wasn't there?
Yeah. Little boy Atreus.
Oh, that's right.
Boy!
Yes.
Boy.
B-O-I.
And we've also got Dennis with us.
Hi, I'm free.
You're free.
Yeah.
It's nice. Finally.
Yes.
Was that the end of school, like altogether, like you're graduating at this point?
No, it's my first
you
year.
Go back.
Yeah.
You go back in September.
Yeah.
So you're not exactly free then.
I'm free to sleep in.
for a couple of months anyways.
Yeah.
Don't you miss that? Like having an end date to something? Now it's just like I am an adult for eternity in hell.
Well,
It's
we'll
nice.
have an end date, technically.
That's dark.
Wow. Yeah.
We're just talking about school, and now we're just talking about death. Okay.
Yeah, our own mortality. And we've got Josh with us.
What's shaking?
And pulling up the rear today is Steve.
Hey, what's up?
So each week we like to get together to discuss everything from the latest video game news and to film and television. And you can pretty much listen to us anywhere you can find your podcast. We've tried to make our show available on as many sites as possible. And we tried to have the show go live on Tuesday. So hopefully you can grab us there. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review on iTunes or Podbeam. You can also send us an email with your comments to CanadianGeekCast@gmail.com, and we may even read them on the next show. So to dive into this episode, we're going to just kind of go with one of the more traditional questions that you usually hear on geeky podcasts of what have you been playing this past week? So Steph, since you are just returning to us, you're first up to bat.
Honestly, I haven't been playing much. Turns out that when you work full time, I'm trying to start your own business, and being on a podcast leaves you very little time to be playing games. But I did manage to stream a couple of games with my friend on Tuesday. So I played Lethal League and Speedrunners.
Yeah.
Speedrunners is fun.
Oh, it's so good, especially when you completely wreck the other person in basically every single round. Oh, it feels so good. So good. And Lethal League has been a surprise for me. I've had it on my Steam library for like a really long time. It's basically like a baseball game. And it's up to 4 players, I believe. And the whole thing is that you're trying to hit the other person with a baseball. So you've got these like special attacks. And it's basically mostly down to reaction time. And of course it like takes all these crazy paths. So it's like a little bit of the old like Pong type thing. We have to like guess where the ball is going. And your characters have special attacks. It's actually quite a good laugh.
Nice.
But yeah, it was fun. It's a lot of screaming and yelling and like I don't know what's going on. But
that's the sign of a good game. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you?
I haven't been playing a whole lot. I still haven't had a chance to dig into God of War yet because life. And I was supposed to get my hands on with Tomb Raider on Thursday. And again, life kicked me in the teeth on that one. So I just played a little bit of Fortnite. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing too exciting.
It's something.
You getting ready for season 4?
You know what? I'm oddly more excited about that than I actually thought I ever would be. I mean, the tease of that comet crash landing, and it looks like superheroes are going to have some sort of play in there starting next week. I'm really intrigued to see what they do. And I was talking with a friend, and I think it'd be kind of cool if you can take like potions or something that give you like a quick, a temporary burst of speed or invincibility or super jump or something crazy. I think I have a funny feeling maybe they're going that way. I don't really know, but I am more excited than I ever thought I would be.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Nice.
It kind of looks like they're going that way because like some of the teaser posters they've been putting out looks like superheroes, right? So
yeah,
we'll see.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I think one of these days I should give Fortnite a try.
You should, and then come play with me and my buddy.
All right, maybe this week.
We will trash talk the people that shoot us and call them all kinds of names together.
Oh, perfect. Just like as is expected on Xbox Live.
Yes. They can't hear us though, so it doesn't.
No, that's true. Dennis, what about you? What have you been playing?
Just been playing through God of War a lot more, so I'm getting close to the end. But I get easily distracted, so it's gonna take longer. And I also played a bit of Detective Pikachu while I was on the train when I went to Toronto yesterday, so getting closer to finishing that.
Nice. What's out of curiosity, what is your game completion percentage? Like, if you start a game, do you usually play it all the way to the end, or do you kind of get distracted and then move on to something else?
Well, my actual percentage, if I looked on my PSN profile, is like 52%, because there's some games that I just like have one trophy in and just.
Oh no, I'm not talking about.
Okay.
I'm not talking about like completion. So like
Okay.
getting all the achievements and everything, but like finishing the story from start to finish.
Yeah, I usually go for completing the story, but sometimes new games come up and then I start playing that. So sometimes I try to aim to beat the story related games anyway.
Yeah.
That sounds like a whole different episode. That whole conversation right there.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Y'all should look at my Steam library.
I would like to see it.
Yeah.
My game library is pathetic with so many incomplete games.
I've not even played 2/3 of mine.
Oh, okay, so then I don't feel so bad.
You're a hoarder, Stephanie. You need help.
I am. Like, let me see. I'm at 389 and I haven't even redeemed my last Humble Bundle.
It's been a while since I've looked at my Steam library. It was pretty big for a while there as well. And yeah.
I need help.
I don't.
You do need help. I agree.
Now I've switched over to consoles, and my console game collection is turning into the same thing as my Steam library.
Those games are a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's worse when it's like PC games, because you're like, well, it's Steam sale time. I'm just going to spend $100, get like a bajillion games.
And your credit card's going, please, no.
Oh, Steam summer sale is going to happen soon. Oh, rip me.
Summer's coming soon?
I know.
Steam summer is.
Yeah. So Steve, what about you? What have you been playing?
Just more God of War. I beat it yesterday morning. Now it's just about going through all the end game content, doing all the collectibles. Man, what a good game that is.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit. Like, it was still pretty early on when I was making my impressions, but holy, that's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I will start playing it after E3, because that's probably when I'll pick up my PS4 after Sony announces either a price cut to the PS3 or PS4 Pro, or a new bundle or something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I could see that, yeah.
And it'll be another game that'll start and never finish.
Take the time, man.
The struggle's real.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I have been playing pretty much all this week. Has been either Manticore Galaxy on Fire on my Switch, and starting on the 26th, so actually starting Thursday, and for the last 3 days, I've been playing nothing but Sky Rogue, which just got dropped onto Switch. If you like the Ace Combat games, I think you would like Sky Rogue. Very, very similar style, that kind of like arcadey combat flight sim, where, you know, also your weapons, you've got unlimited weapons, you just have like a recharge time. There's not so much a story to it, it's just one mission after another. But you can upgrade your weapons, you can upgrade your aircraft, you can get new aircraft, which is kind of nice. As you destroy vehicles and buildings and stuff like that, you get money. One thing I found out the hard way, and I was kind of wondering why I wasn't actually progressing anywhere, is if you die while you're playing, you kind of start all over again from the beginning, which it kind of sucks. But whatever. So yeah, I've been playing a ton of that. I've even noticed some of the music. There's a certain part of the music that plays when you're in combat that sounds very reminiscent of an like the music that you would hear in Ace Combat.
Oh, cool.
So I thought that was kind of neat. And it's kind of embarrassing. I didn't realize that they were a Canadian dev. One of the skins that you can actually that you get for the aircraft is it's called True North, and it's the paint scheme from the Canada 150 F-18 demo Hornet from last year.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's I think they call it Lady in Red. It was the name.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really cool because it's got like the maple leaf and everything on the wings, and then even on your carrier on the main deck, it's got that same leaf. So
Are they Ontario dev? Because I thought.
I think they're in Toronto.
Yeah, because I thought I saw them being promoted on Toronto Game Dev.
I think they're in Toronto. I ended up just seeing it as I saw a screenshot on Twitter. I was like, oh, what game is this? And someone was like, Skyrogue. And so I Googled it, and I'm like, yep, I'm pre-ordering this. It was pretty much within like not even 5 minutes of seeing the screenshot. It's a lot of fun, and it's very smooth for being a Switch, like a game on the Switch. It's actually really quite smooth. There's no frame rate drops or anything like that.
Have you been playing it only in handheld?
Yeah, and then I played on my TV for a little bit when I killed the battery, because I've killed the battery of my Switch 3 times now.
Yeah.
Because I keep playing this game. So.
But you're finding that it transitions well, like.
Oh yeah.
Handheld and okay.
Yeah, there's almost. I haven't really noticed a difference. Like, there's really no decrease that I've noticed in handheld. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, if you're looking for, and it's a nice pick up and go type of game. Like you start fairly quickly. So, Dennis, it'd be good for you if you had a Switch. You play on the train to Toronto.
I do have some like extra money on it because I bought like a gift card at EB when I had to get rid of some EB credit. I haven't bought anything with it yet, so that might be one game I could get.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I was looking for another game, so
I think it was like $26. So it's not that expensive. Like it's fairly cheap. So highly recommend picking that up. So with our introductions out of the way, it's time to dive into our topics.
Whoa, this is heavy. There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
All right, so we're going to dive into our first topic, and this one I'm going to hand over to Steve.
Yeah, hey guys. So we were able to get a screener for documentary Playing Hard. It is premiering this upcoming week, at the Hot Docs Film Festival in Toronto. For those who not in the area or may not know, Hot Docs is like a Canada-wide film festival that organizes many different documentaries and films coming even from across seas, like over in Europe and everything, and they get together in Toronto and screen those. So Playing Hard, we got the screener for. It has to do with actually video games, which was kind of surprising for me. This one in particular had to do with the development of For Honor from Ubisoft Montreal. The film itself starts 4 years before the game actually released, and just kind of follows Jason Vanderberg, who's the creative director of For Honor, and his work in Ubisoft Montreal. It actually starts off with not going into huge spoilers because I don't want to really ruin it for people who actually want to go see the film, but it starts off with like even the first pitch of him going into Ubisoft and saying, this is the game I've always wanted to make, that he's dreamed of making, because no other studio will make it for him. From there, just, it's not that they're following him every day for 4 years. They're going back and hitting these milestone moments for him and the studio along the development cycle of this game, like E3, the reveal there, which, to be honest, I thought was probably one of the more interesting moments. It was E3 2016, which I don't know if everyone remembers, but that was the E3 that followed the Orlando attack.
Yeah.
And a lot of people at the time were asking the question of like, how do you justify going on stage and saying, hey, we have this super over the top violent video game in the wake of something that was pretty tragic for a lot of people. I know a lot of outlets and everything were asking that question, and he himself, Jason Vanderberg, he struggled with that himself and was really trying to bounce back and figure out what sort of message he was going to put out there. I thought, for people who are going to go see that, really pay attention to that moment, because I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going, hitting milestone after milestone of leading into the actual release, goes into his reception of critical feedback and all this. It was super interesting to see this, because realistically, we haven't had a documentary or anything like this in quite a while. The only ones that come into mind were like Indie Game the Movie or Double Fine Adventure from Double Fine. We don't really get these sneak previews or like, fly on the wall moments of being in a development studio. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really interesting to, like you said, to see kind of the development. The only other documentary that I can recall that comes to mind is one about making Oblivion that I found on YouTube. And that's kind of the first time I ever saw one where you kind of get a little bit of behind the scenes look at what goes on in developing a game, and it's holy crap, it's insane. Like this one, like it went from start to finish, and like I always know that the devs are under a ton of pressure and a ton of stress, but I didn't realize it was this much, like I think one of the guys like pretty much had to up and leave to kind of de-stress essentially because of how much stress and pressure he was under. Like it's unbelievable. And it was also kind of really interesting to see how at the beginning everything is like, yeah, this, everything is good, moving quickly, and then the closer and closer to that release date, it's everything is becoming like there's a lot more pressure to get things out on time, and losing team member, and it was a really big eye opener. Like,
yeah.
For me, it was interesting because this is very much the 1% of game developers. This is the top 1%. 99% of game developers, they don't have these resources. They don't have this particular experience. And it's still interesting to me to see what it's like at a AAA, but I just think, like, man, they're a little spoiled in some ways. Like, yes, there's a lot more pressure to deliver, but the fact that they had over 500 people working on one game blows my mind when most of my friends are making it with 2, 3, maybe 5 to 8 people. It was, and then they're having these like champagne parties, and they're having these like weekly tournaments, and I'm like, man, what luxury these guys have. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, I know it's equally as hard and cutthroat, and they're still doing the pitches, they're still doing all these development cycles, talking about what features have to be cut from the game because of timelines. That happens to every game dev, but man, there were some moments in that I was just like, yeah, the AAA experience is unlike most game developers. Again, I think the Indie Game Movie is a really good documentary, but it's still like that's such a small percentage of game developers that have the Meat Boy experience or the Fez experience. I think a lot more of them. I think it'd be interesting to have a documentary about what a lot more failures, because they were talking in this 97% of revenues in games are made by 15% of games or something like that, or 3%.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, by 3% of the games, and it's just like, I want to know about the other 97%. I think that would be interesting.
It's very interesting because you don't really get to see like, this is like the past documentaries that like Indie Game Movie was, dealt with indie games, but this dealt with a AAA game that was recently released. So it was kind of interesting. Yeah. It was kind of like how it was made, kind of thing. Like you got to see behind the scenes, and like For Honor is one of those games I really didn't have that much interest in. It kind of reminded me of like a Western version of Dynasty Warriors in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed,
so
100%.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see what Jason Rittenberg was going through. Like he was definitely like the character, like the main perspective that you're following while you're following Stephanie and another guy as well. So it was interesting to see these perspectives and their family as well. So there was a lot going on, and it was interesting. And earlier in the documentary, the team seemed very happy because like the test for the game, they were just like they were having their own esports tournament. Basically, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like, but once that that budget came in, it seemed that there was like this negative energy going on, especially with Jason, because like later on it just felt like he had nothing to do or to contribute, and like by the end he was like, well, let's move on to the next thing, and like I don't want to like he wanted to do the next iteration of that, and knowing what I know now, that didn't happen. I was like, dude, that's not happening. And
yeah, for Jason, Jason's one of those guys where you're like, man, you're such a genius, but I wouldn't want to work with you. At least that's my personal opinion. Like these kind of people, they're so brilliant, but they have to control everything, and they're very particular, and that's so hard to work with, especially when you have large teams like that. I can see how that wouldn't work so well. And it's such a shame.
Himself, he's like he has like a rough exterior to him. He's very I don't know how to put it, but like he's a formidable force, and he's very hairy. He's got quite the beard, but he's got like such a force for himself when he goes into the studio and everything. Like he's a genius. Like don't get me wrong, like the way he was able to create this lore and these stories and everything, but. Yeah, I can only imagine how rough it was to go through that entire cycle.
I will say one thing I liked about the documentary is like how it, like not how when it started, like what him putting on his rings and stuff, but him like walking through the field that's starting, and by the end,
beautiful shot.
Yeah, it was a beautiful shot, and by the end, it was the same. I don't know if it was the same, but it was like a snowy version of that field.
I think it was the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of a creative way to like start and end the documentary for this game. So
yeah, he's got a couple big names under his belt. I was just kind of pulling them up. He's got obviously For Honor, Red Steel 2. He was actually a voice in that one. Lead game designer for X-Men, the official game. Lead game designer for James Bond 007, Everything or Nothing. Oh, he's actually even the director of Red Steel 2. So he's got a few big games under his belt.
He's been around for 20 years.
Yeah. I think he was at Ubisoft for like 10 years, and then he left right like a couple of months after For Honor was released. So I think I don't know where he is. I think it's like BattleNet or something around that name. I don't know. Can't remember. Oh, ArenaNet. Sorry.
Okay.
Like he ended up at Blizzard?
ArenaNet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it says on his LinkedIn anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not finished it. I'm about not even a third of the way, maybe a quarter of the way through the documentary. I just haven't had time this weekend, but what I'm really digging it a lot. I would actually love to sit down and have a beer with this guy and just kind of pick his brain about lots of things, because he has worked on a lot of different things. But he does mention in it that a lot of times he's called in to help fix projects, not take them from the ground, from conception to completion. And he says, like if the game sucks, that's not, he's like, I always had an excuse, like I was called in to fix something that sucked worse, basically is what he's saying. But he's like, if this doesn't do well, then that's all me. And he definitely felt like seemed like he was feeling the stresses of that. And I'm just getting to the E3 reveal part right now. I'm looking up at him at the back of his head right now, and I'm like, the guy's got a pretty head of hair, like that's pretty awesome. But no, he strikes me as just like a really cool guy. He's probably got like some amazing stories, and I bet there's a lot of really cool stuff that's in that head of his that that should sometime see the light of day, but probably never will, because the industry, as they talk about in the very early, they're kind of risk adverse to new concepts where they're like, well, why should we give you the money for this when we know this already works? We can just put it there. And that's I think that's an unfortunate reflection of the industry and how it is, to be honest. But
yeah, the saddest stat for me was 85% of the top games are sequels.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And
proven IP. Yeah.
Well, it's and you look at games that kind of try and change things up a little bit, like
Fortnite.
Fortnite. But I was going to use like a couple Xbox games, like Recore, and even Quantum Break, where they're very different games. And when they're in development and people see screenshots, everybody's all excited and everything for these games, and they come out like, well, I don't want this.
Yeah, this is new. This is unfamiliar.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. That's it exactly.
Lawbreakers.
Yeah,
that's a familiar. Really good one. Where it was like there's all of this gravity. It was an FPS, I believe, but it had this gravity function, so you could kind of fly across the stage, and everyone's like, "Oh, this looks really cool! It looks really cool!" And I think it died within a month.
Yeah,
just because people didn't get it.
And I think after that, I think Epic tried to get some. I think they got some team members off.
They did.
It came to a point like Cliff was like, "Epic, stop taking my team members." Like,
yeah, and that's about his new project that's coming out, right? Or that they just dropped the free to play game, Radical Heights.
Yeah.
Yeah, which what is actually kind of a cool game. I think Ninja even said he's like, this has got a lot of potential to it. So I think Cliff and his team might be onto something here. Whether or not they're gonna ever find the legs to go completely mainstream like Fortnite did or any of those, it's remained to be seen. But yeah, they're I guess poaching his people right now and bringing them over to the Fortnite crew, and he is not happy.
Oh wow!
What are some new IPs that have come out that have done well from AAAs? Because I know we've got Hellblade, which was technically an indie, but kind of a AA. Like, when was the last big IP that was original that did well?
Because I'm trying to remember, the only games I've played this year are really sequels or continuations of franchise. So I don't really know.
Like ARMS didn't do well for Nintendo.
So you're part of the problem, Dennis.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Steph is completely opposite spectrum of that scale versus most of us who are, pretty entrenched in going for the AAA titles, where Steph is just like, is it new? Is it indie? Yes, I want to play it. I want to live it. I want to love it.
Well, I mean, reeling it back into For Honor, I think this is a good example of a brand new IP that
didn't do well.
Its own. No, it did though.
It did quite well.
Yeah,
but
it built its own community. It was supported for many seasons. I mean, it didn't hit the overall. It didn't grab everyone, but it built its own finite community into it. And just like Rainbow Six Siege, Ubisoft was able to build a platform for themselves once again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I meant a success in the way of it wasn't the same success as these other games we're talking about. So it's not as successful as like the Zeldas, the For Honors, not For Honors, for the Far Cries, the Assassin's Creed. I think it's sad that
it's not the same level, but I think it's got potential to get there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the last For Honor we're gonna see.
No. I think Ubisoft has been on a really good rampage of doing that, because you look at something like The Division as well. I mean, I know it's getting a sequel or probably this year, but the first one, cult hit. People love that game and only want to see more of it.
Yeah, there were things that I had problems with, but I'm optimistic that they've addressed some of those, or if not all of those problems in the sequel. So we'll see what happens. Ubisoft has been doing a lot of really good things the last 3 years, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that, even The Division, going back a year or a year and a half after, it was like playing a whole different game.
Really? I found a list of ones for this gen, the new IPs. Okay. Ready? So Watch Dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Crew.
Mm-hmm.
Evil Within.
Oh yeah.
Dying
Evil
Light.
Within was not new gen this generation though. That's last gen.
No.
That was 360. Came out on 360 originally.
Okay. I'm just reading from someone else's list. So Dying Light is another one. The Division, Destiny, Titanfall, and Shadow of Mordor. Really? Shadow of Mordor is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Xbox One, PS4.
Oh.
Yep.
That was one of my first Xbox One titles too. Chopping an orc in half is so satisfying.
Like, how long has this gen been out? And that's the list? Like, really?
It's been 5 years.
years.
Yeah,
Has it been?
Yeah.
almost 5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this fall.
Yep. I mean, if you want to count Wii U, but I'm not.
Who really does?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first
Wii U.
Evil Within came out on 360 back in 2014.
Okay.
But
Oh, okay.
also on the Xbox One and PlayStation.
Yeah,
right?
they brought out the like the
PlayStation
updated
4?
graphics type thing. Yeah, it was like a remaster. Because
Gotcha.
I played it originally on the Xbox 360.
But yeah, no, overall, I think the film was really good. It was an insightful little piece. I encourage anyone to go see it, even if you're not, for instance, like a For Honor fan, but just interested in game development or an enthusiast of the industry. I know it starts screening like officially this week, so you can find tickets online. But even if you want to wait, just please do yourself a solid and check it out, because it really opened my eyes on a lot of things, good and bad, about the industry.
Yep. Very true. Well, shall we move on?
Who are you?
I am Ooby Doo Banooby. I have the silliest name in the galaxy.
What's your middle name?
Scooby Dooby.
Ooby Doob Scooby Dooby Banooby?
One and the same.
So our next topic that we're going to be discussing is the Star Wars Resistance. So Disney has ordered an anime-inspired TV show from the creators of Star Wars Rebels. The Star Wars Rebels creator David Filoni. Thank you, David Filoni. And let's kind of talk a little bit about this series, this upcoming show.
This is the third Star Wars TV series that has been done. Like Dave Filoni originally did, helped with Clone Wars with George Lucas. So this takes place between I think it takes place before Force Awakens, but it's around that era, and it follows I believe it follows Resistant pilot that it follows a pilot and on a top secret mission with the growing threat of the First Order. So it's really not like a direct sequel to Rebels, but these shows do a really great job of expanding the lore of Star Wars. It introduces, like, even Star Wars Rebels finally introduced like characters like Thrawn, like characters who were in expanded universe that wouldn't see the light of day when Star Wars finally pulled the plug on the extended universe. So I'm interested to see it, because the anime aspect is because these Star Wars TV shows are basically Western anime. Like they go into like story arcs and have a finale that it's good. It's really good. So like I'm interested to see where this goes and when it's coming out, because I want to watch it right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a. I don't think there's a release.
Yeah, there's not much.
I don't think there's a release date yet.
There's no release
fall
date
or
for it
winter.
yet.
Oh, there's not.
No, there's no set timeline yet.
Yeah, because Rebels just ended this.
Oh, set for fall debut, so sometime this fall.
Oh, okay.
Sometime.
Yeah.
So
I'll be honest, I'm probably not gonna watch it. And not because I don't like Star Wars, because I love Star Wars, although the last movie sucked. There's just so much I can dedicate to this sort of thing. I don't know. I'm just not really feeling like I'm gonna dive into it unless I see some trailers for it, or that really kind of captivate me, make me think, okay, you know what, this really is something I should get myself into. I'll probably just myself stick to the films.
Yeah, it's a little hard when you look at even like Star Wars Rebels, and it's on, I believe, like the 5th season, like the 5th and final season.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little hard to keep up with something that goes on that long. If this was more of a one season like mini series, I would be way more behind it. I just don't have the time to keep keep up with it, you know?
I think I'd probably be the same way, because there's only so much Star Wars you can consume in 1 year. I mean, for myself, anyways. Ultra Star Wars fanatics can, you can feed it to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're happy. But there's only so much I can take personally. And I grew up with the series and love the series. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat, but I also fear like oversaturation of the series. I feel like Star Wars is one of those universes that the less we know about it, the more interesting it is. I like in this little paragraph here, it talks about including fan appearances by fan favorites like Poe Dameron and Captain Phasma. Well, Captain Phasma, up until the Last Jedi, was a really cool character, but we don't need to know her front to back. That's
the Boba Fett of the trilogy, really cool. This new trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm interested to see like exactly where it goes. I'll probably like end up reading like a a little synopsis here and there.
Yeah, I couldn't care less. I just like, it's one of those things where it's like Star Wars. I'll go see movies, I'll enjoy it passively, and then I have no interest to consume the universe beyond that. Like, I just enjoy the entertainment, the one movie whenever it comes out. But kind of like Josh in that, like, I don't have any desire to consume the universe beyond that. But that's me with Marvel and stuff as well, right? Like, I'll go see the big blockbusters, but beyond that, like, I'm good. I don't want to watch all the Netflix. I don't want to watch. It's just not really a thing that I'm super interested in personally. So, I mean, it's one of those things where my boyfriend watched like every single season of Rebels, really enjoyed it. So it'll be something he watches, and maybe I'll watch passively on the side. But
Matt, do you have any thoughts on it?
I only watched a little bit of Rebels. A friend of mine kind of was telling me about it, and it was okay. But I think like you guys, with there's just so much and so little time, I will probably end up skipping over this. I don't have cable either, so that makes it that much more difficult for me to watch these shows.
Yeah.
Maybe if my kids were a bit older and they were kind of getting into this stuff, then I'd probably watch it a bit more. But right now they're still kind of into Peppa Pig and Secret World or Amazing World of Gumball. So
badass.
Paw Patrol.
A little bit. I'm trying to wean them off of Paw Patrol. Took a while to get them off of Bubble Guppies. So
this does raise a good question though, because I know Disney was or still is looking at creating their own streaming platform. I wonder if this will be one of the main titles to make their way over there.
There's so many
streaming services.
It's ridiculous.
It's getting to the point where we're back to paying for cable. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different services that have so many different things. You're almost back to having like cable or satellite service again.
Almost, yeah.
Just because you got Netflix up here, we've got Crave. Down in the States, there's Hulu. Then there's HBO Go, Amazon Prime Instant Video. Cineplex has their own thing.
And you got Crunchyroll.
There's what's the other one? There's another one for film.
Crackle.
Yeah, Funimation.
Oh, yeah, Funimation.
Crackle's
free though. Yeah.
Crackle, that's what it is. Yeah. Crackle's free, but then they throw ads into it, so it's almost like you're watching TV. I was watching Ghostbusters on Crackle. I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah, and then if you want, like, if you don't have cable, you can get like the NHL season pass. Like,
which is a complete rip off for that whole thing. It's just but I think that's a discussion for another time. All those ones.
A rant, I think, is what more sounds like. But
I think so. Yeah. Well, I think we should move on to our third topic now.
I work hard for the money, so hard for the money. Oh, why something money? Come on, give me lots of money.
Now there's an employee, Smithers, a smile on his lips and a song in his heart. Promote him.
So hard for the money. Take over.
All right, well, I think we're going to move into our third topic now, and this one I'm going to hand over to Steph.
So for this, recently Belgium has declared that loot boxes are illegal and are basically gambling. So what they have done is they're working with game developers and producers and publishers to get all loot boxes out of games by an unspecified timeline. This is following a very similar verdict in Netherlands, where they have to get all loot boxes out by June 20th. Now, this is the most interesting because Belgium is kind of considered this like keystone for Europe, or everyone tends to follow what Belgium does later on down the line. So the whole EU tends to follow Belgium, whatever they put into legislation. So this has kind of been a huge hit to game developers, and is, along with the loot boxes, how they have to be treated in China as well. It's been very interesting to see this crackdown on what I consider is becoming a very predatory way to get money out of people in games. Me personally, I'm fine if loot boxes are they're only visual. It's nothing to do with gameplay. So if it's
like what they do for
skins,
Overwatch.
Yeah, like Overwatch. I think
Fortnite.
there's a couple of things that Overwatch does which can be predatory, like the time sensitive loot boxes.
Oh yeah,
the skins.
usually like for like their big events, you know,
Halloween.
the Olympics and Halloween.
The Chinese New Year's, like I think that's a little bit predatory. But I mean, if it's visual only, I feel a little bit more okay with it. I think it was things like Battlefront that really kicked this off, but it is in other games too. So it'll be interesting to hear what you guys think.
I agree that loot boxes are considered gambling and really have no place in the video games, especially with the cost, like how much we're paying for games right now. You know, $70-$80 for a game, and then on top of that you can drop another $80 for a bunch of skins. I know there's kind of the counter argument that the games are going to need the addition, they need that revenue for upkeep and for servers, especially for something like Fortnite, which is a free to play game. Star Trek Online is another free to play game that that one I partake in. So I can kind of understand the flip side to that, but I don't know. I think it'd be nice to see. Well, then there's what EA did with their loot boxes in Battlefront 2, which you get your pay to win.
Yeah.
Which that was I like this one comment for this one article that EA seemed to be caught off guard by the negative reaction to Battlefront 2 during the beta. Really? You don't think people would be pissed off that somebody else could just get the game and buy everything and be suddenly better, yet you've sunk hundreds of hours into it
and hide all their characters behind a paywall?
Yeah.
Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker.
They were shocked because they've been getting away with it with FIFA and all their other major IPs. They were shocked that this particular one was the one, like the straw that broke the camel's back, I think. And it's just a tone deaf corporate thing there, right? That was just so disconnected from the gamers. Like this was already on a lot of people's grinds my gear list. And this was just, I think, like a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. They weren't the first ones to do it. They're not going to be the last ones. But this one is the one that started the whole movement.
Yeah, it came to a point that Disney had to step in. That's the only reason stuff is changing. So for Battlefront anyway. So.
Yeah, they were under a lot of heat for potentially damaging the Star Wars IP right before a big theatrical release.
Because this was just before Episode 8, wasn't it?
No, my understanding is that Electronic Arts went and called an emergency meeting with the people over at EA, and they were like, you got to pull a plug on this. This is not working. This is making us look really, really bad, and we're not happy about it. And it may have done damage. I don't know to that relationship. We'll have to see. Time will tell. But it seems that, to me, that Disney was really not on side with what happened purely because of the fan reaction to how everything was going.
Yeah, it came to a point that I think there was at least a conversation going that maybe other developers should start developing Star Wars games, and EA shouldn't be under this contract of I don't know how long.
I think until
it was
2022. I believe it still got a
it was a 10-year contract. Yeah, that's right.
I think it's a very interesting conversation that's happening. I know that when we were talking in the pre-show that Josh was saying it's kind of trading card games like Pokemon and baseball cards. That's kind of got the same amount of, you don't know what you're getting and all that stuff. But I think the difference is intent. When you're buying card games, you know what you're getting yourself into. Like Magic the Gathering, you're like, I'm buying this particular thing and I know it's chance. Whereas when it comes to video games, you're buying the game for the game, and it doesn't always say on the packaging that it is got these in-game purchases, nor does it tell you the intent of the in-game purchases. So I think the fair way to do it is to have some kind of labeling that's like, hey, this is in-game or in-game purchases, and whether it's cosmetic only or whether it has gameplay elements, that should be right on the box.
Well, the ESRB is implementing that already.
Good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so like on the back where, you'll see like a 1 to 4 player DLC included, that sort of thing. There'll be it's not going to be large by any means, don't get me wrong, but there will be a little segment there saying in-app purchases are available.
I'm pretty sure that it's been there already. It's been a while since I picked up a box game, but I'm quite confident that on the back there, it does already say, and it has for a while, in-game purchases.
But I think that's such a broad, I think that's such a broad term though, because it's very different to be aesthetics and another to be like, you feel the need to get stuff to complete the game, like Shadow of Mordor.
Okay. Yeah. So my feeling on it is a little bit different. I think I'm a little less hateful towards it. I don't really like the, you can spend $50 and you can get like this blaster that has like 200% extra damage, whatever. I'm not a big fan of that, but you should be able to get it in the game as well without having to pay anything. But also when my kids tell me they want a game, that's not really the game developer's responsibility to hold my hand and tell me exactly what's in there and what the odds are of this or that. That's my responsibility as a parent to figure it out and learn about the game myself.
So here's another thing that has got me interested as well. So with like actual gambling, they have to tell you the chances of winning, right? Okay. But where loot boxes, they don't, unless you're in China. In China, they made it so it has to say like, this is the percentage drop for this particular item, right? Right. But a lot of developers have been against this idea, and there were talks, and I don't know if these are true or not, but it's because these loot boxes don't have a set percentage. It is gamed. So what happens is you'll get crappy items, and then the AI will realize like, oh, you've not had a good item in, let's say, 6 openings. So it'll game the system so you get one. So then you feel this like elation that like, oh, like look, I've got this like gold skin or whatever. So then you don't get this fatigue. Okay. And that's where I have problems with it, because they are like, they're actually playing with your, I just don't know how to say it.
They're rigging the game to their favor.
They're rigging the game, but also in a very predatory manner, where they're programming players to keep playing. That's where I have problems, where they're tapping into this like psyche and the psychology and purposely making it so you'll keep buying stuff.
But I don't feel like it's that much different with trading cards. Like as a kid, I'd have trading cards and I'd go out and buy like, blow my allowance of $10 or whatever the hell it is. And I would get all these cards and I'd go home and I'd have like maybe one new card out of, 10. And it's just like that kind of sucked. I always felt like that was a big waste of my money. I don't feel like it's that much different with that, to be honest.
I don't think it's much different either. The only difference is that you haven't already spent $50 or $60 or X amount on like a set of cards to begin with, right? The fact that you already buy the game and you're just now investing more money on features that, for all intents and purposes, should have been in the game to begin with, that's when it becomes an issue. I have no problem with microtransactions in like a free-to-play game like Fortnite or any kind of free-to-play game, because that's the investment that you're going into. You get the base game for free, and if you want to support the devs and support their efforts to create the server, create additional content, well, you're almost expected to fork out some money if you want to see it live longer.
Sure.
I just have problems with it because they're tapping into the various different tactics used in marketing to get people to buy. And it's such a, to me, it feels really predatory. Like they're playing people to spend as much money as possible. And if you look at some of the games that do this, it's just not fair. Again, I'm okay with visual, but when it comes down to gameplay, I'm out. I think that's not fair.
I don't like the gameplay, the ability to change the game into somebody else's favor because they decide they want to spend $200 on digital items. I agree with you. They should fix the system in the way that you have a chance to get to roll these things and pull them out with in-game currency that you earn in-game without spending extra money. I would never argue that against that, but I'm just not as spiteful towards the whole thing, I guess, as most people. I think it really comes, if you don't want your kids playing a game where they're going to constantly be asking for $20 here, $20 there to buy these loot crates, that's on you as a parent if that's the case, to understand what it is that you're buying for your kids. I
think this is also like just another milestone in the conversation of how do developers and studios get more revenue out of the customer. I mean, you look back maybe 8-10 years ago and there was the infamous horse armor from Oblivion, a feature that should have been just in the game to begin with, and people were up in arms, and you saw that expand over the course of 5 years of content that was on the actual disc. It was just behind a paywall that was going to be released later on. People caught wise to that, started calling them out. Well, this is the next step of evolution. I think, the Battlefront 2 movement really spoke true because, like, as much as microtransactions were a talk of last year, they're not really at the forefront this year. I think a lot of studios are now, pumping the brakes a little bit, making the message a lot more clairvoyant. Like, we're going to see something come out of this. I don't know if microtransactions will be here to stay in some capacity for the next little while, but I think this is just a steady evolution.
The discussions are like, well, do games go episodic? So I know, but it gives them a chance to, like, if episode 1 does really well, like it breaks down the scale of the game, right? So then you've got the ability, like, you get all of the revenue and then you can build more into the game. You can also gauge the reactions, like, is it going to do well? And that's one way that devs can break down the cost of the game. Then there's always DLC as well that can come out. There are microtransactions, and I'm trying to think if there's other ways to do it. But it's definitely a discussion that's going to come down. But then you see games like God of War come out in a time where I think, who was it? Was it EA who claimed that, like, the single player experience was dead?
Something like that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then God of War comes out, no microtransactions, no, like, and it's no multiplayer. It's just a one player story mode game, and it blows everyone's expectations. It does really well financially. I think it's interesting.
I was having a conversation about that last night, actually, and there's a big difference is that God of War is a first-party title while Star Wars Battlefront is third-party. They don't get the amount of backing that a Sony Santa Monica would, or any of the Sony first-party studios. So they have to then reach out into their back pocket and say, how do we increase revenue for ourselves as a third party?
I just don't think gamers are done with first, like, single-player games with story mode.
God,
no.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit of a ludicrous claim.
It was a stupid comment to make, 100%.
I would have to say, I think it's time we dive into our final discussion topic of the episode.
Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too hot. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot.
I need photos of Spider-Man.
I'm too hot.
Now, if you are not aware of it, a trailer for the upcoming Venom film got released, and it was, what was it, like a couple hours or the day before it got leaked, or a scene got leaked as well.
It was the same evening.
Was it the same evening? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think that's part of the viral marketing. It's not like the Deadpool trailer that got leaked. But did everyone have a chance to see that trailer for Venom?
Yep.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times. So Josh, what did you think of that trailer so far?
I personally dig the feel of the trailer. It's kind of dark. It's supposed to be kind of scary, I guess, almost like a horror movie of sorts, because Venom is an extremely violent character, and one of my favorite characters from Marvel Universe. Probably, I'd probably rank him higher than Wolverine even.
Oh yeah.
I thought that I think Tom Hardy's a good pick for the role of Brock, and was it Eddie Brock?
Yes.
So anyways, when they at the very end of the trailer, when they do the full reveal of Venom, I thought it looked really good. It looked like Venom, the big teeth, the big tongue, like drooly. He looked massive too, like jacked, like huge muscles.
I agree.
And that's Venom. And I'm really excited to see full frame Venom moving around in the space. Some people are kind of ripping on, I guess, the scene in the trailer where tentacles come out of his back or out of his chest and pull him down towards the motorcycle. That part I'll say was kind of cheesy, but I mean, I think if people think about or go back and look at the character, it's not like he's not like the Incredible Hulk where his clothes just like rip off whenever he changes, right? Like they don't get shredded. Right. It's just like the costume or the symbiote or however you want to pronounce it is symbiote, depending whoever you talk to, right? It's just kind of part of his person, is part of his whole body, and I think that includes the clothes, and I don't have a problem with it. It did look kind of lame, like I'm on a motorcycle, oh my god, I've fallen off, but that's cool because I got black tentacles that put me back on it. I mean,
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is
going. Legend of the Overfiend, Marvel Edition. No, it was. I all in all, I would say it looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Venom, the voice was awesome. Like, I can't remember the name of that actor, but he's got a really deep, gravelly voice, and it fits. And I'm all over it. So I want to see more. I'm looking forward.
Now I got a question. So the symbiont, has he always been Venom, or was it after, or was it in the comics where Spider-Man had the symbiont and then it separated, and then at that point he copied kind of the Spider-Man's abilities and then became Venom? Is that
you're 100% right? Like in the comics, the reason why he has the giant like white spider symbol on his chest and the white eyes is because he was like the symbiote was Spider-Man before.
Right. Okay.
In the trailer, you don't get like a clear shot of the chest, so it might just be like.
I don't think it's there. I'd be surprised if it's there.
I think the eyes are just there because I think obviously this isn't in the MCU. This isn't exactly.
So I'm okay, yeah. So I thought that there was some comic that I saw where some big war and Spider-Man's suit got destroyed, and then the symbiont came on and everything. So it's gonna be. I'm curious to see how they explain the beginnings of this and why he looks the way he does. Because I mean, Spider-Man 3, you kind of get that idea after the symbiont, and then when Peter was able to get rid of it. So
yeah,
I wonder how much they can talk to that, considering they don't own the franchise anymore. It's one of those. I wonder how much control or
Sony still has the franchise. They just
Sony still owns it.
They just collaborated with Marvel on the Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have a partnership. So at very least, people have been saying that Tom Holland can potentially cameo in this movie, but they can't use Spider-Man's name. They can they could potentially call him by like Peter, or just have him in the background or something, but he can't be Spider-Man. That's the only
interesting.
Like hard stop. Is that a hard stop, or is that that's just how it is right now, or that's how they're presenting it to us with the intention that maybe they're going to roll him into it?
I'll be honest, I was super confused leading up to this because we had the Sony executive say, "Hey, no, this is in the MCU." Like, we're super jazzed to be Kevin Feige just be like, no, it's not. It's not part of the MCU." So they don't even know what, like, from my opinion, like, they don't even know what's going on with this movie.
So this is pretty much like a standalone film.
It
is.
That's how they're marketing it, but I don't know. Like, there's nobody in this world who watches the Marvel comics movies who doesn't want to see a full-on Spider-Man versus Venom versus Carnage type film. There's not a single person. So, I mean, to keep this completely separate, I got a feeling that it's not. It's going to be there somehow, somewhere, some way. I just don't know how they're going to roll it in, but I feel like they have to. Like, they can't not.
I'd really like it if they just kept it super secret. Like, they were playing nice with each other, and they do somehow integrate it into the MCU.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think having Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, great casting. Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy or Carnage, awesome. I can't wait to see that. I just wish that some of the visuals were a little more refined. There's this scene where like the motorcycle scene in the trailer, and then there's also the scene where he's driving on the motorcycle at the same time, and he, like, the symbiote tentacles like come out and like smash two cars. It just looks kind of weird. Like, it looks something like you would see in Spider-Man 3. It doesn't look like, a modern day superhero movie with that kind of budget.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All I can say is I would not want to live in Marvel Universe New York. Can you imagine the insurance rates? Oh my god!
In San Francisco.
Okay. Marvel Universe America. Let's just put it at that. Because can you imagine the insurance rates? It's just holy crap! That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Something's happening every goddamn day.
Pretty much.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna roll it into the series, into the MCU.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'm wondering if Disney's trying to put a stranglehold on them, so Sony will give up Venom.
Yeah.
So they'll just hold them back because they want to buy it. I'm wondering if they would do that. Because I wouldn't be surprised.
They're already buying the Fox one, so.
Yep, exactly. I think Disney's going to be like, nope, because they want to buy it. They'll make it I think they'll make it basically impossible for them.
The thing is that Disney can't say no. It's Sony that has the total rights.
Yeah.
It was Sony that was able to be like, hey, we'll give you Spider-Man for Civil War, but you have to help us with the budget for Spider-Man Homecoming, essentially.
Interesting.
And also think story development on that was partially done by the Marvel people too.
Yeah.
Or if not in full, but I can't see it. I don't see any world where this isn't going to be part of that, because they know how marketable Venom is, how big his character is, how much people want to see him and Spider-Man go toe to toe. We all want it. I mean, people want to see in Spider-Man movie, they want to see Sinister Six or probably Mysterio, maybe Doc Ock as well, and people want Venom.
Yeah,
it's Venom is that kind of character. So,
yeah.
Well, they're definitely playing nice to some sort of scale, because you look at the relationship they had with Fox. They totally wrote out the Fantastic Four out of the comics. They were like, we're just not gonna use Fantastic Four anymore. We're gonna essentially wipe out the X-Men and use Inhumans, only because that would then hit Fox even harder. And now look, but it seems like Sony and Disney are playing a little nice, So who knows?
I think they've got a pretty good relationship, especially the way the last Spider-Man movie went over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the way this movie's going over. It's only selling more product, like Spider-Man type product for. I think Sony has some of that pie, right? So.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure they're just like, let's just keep rolling with what Marvel wants to do and play nice and be friends and just keep making money, print money.
I mean, it's good that way, because Spider-Man is like, it's Marvel's Superman basically. It's their marquee character.
Yeah.
So it's good that they're have a good relationship, unlike Fox, because like the comics and whatnot, and in the last Marvel fighting game didn't have any of the X-Men or those characters.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's just good to that's free marketing for them. So I guess I can understand that, but it's good that things are working out for at least Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, it's now time to roll into our final segment of the show.
When you decide to get serious, there's only one place to come. The games of Super Nintendo. No one else creates this kind of experience. Because no one else creates these kinds of games. Now you're playing with power. Superpower.
That's right. It's time for Dennis's favorite segment. It's the Games of the Week. Take it away, Dennis.
Yeah. For the week of May 1st to the 8th, the first game we have is Battlezone Gold Edition. It's interacts with the VR, so it's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC on May 1st. After that is Outbreak: A Nightmare Chronicles, coming to Xbox One, May 1st. After that, more baseball games are coming, because Super Mega Baseball 2 is coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One on May 1st. And after that, we have Killing Floor Incursion coming to PS4 on May 1st. And after that, we have Beat Saber coming to PC on May 1st. After that, we have Coffee Crisis coming to PC on May 2nd.
That sounds like my everyday.
Yeah.
I'm having a coffee crisis right now.
Yeah, I hear that.
Okay. On a previous episode, I talked about how Total War Thrones of Britannia was coming to PC on April 19th. That was delayed to May 3rd, so it's coming out that day now. On May the 4th, may the 4th be with you, Jedi Donkey Kong wants you all to buy Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
I might have to
Nintendo
get that.
Switch.
Go get this game, for the love of God.
It was awesome
Does
on Wii U.
Yeah, it was super underrated. Just go play it.
Did they end up coming out with the bongos or not?
No.
They trademarked them or whatever. So
No, this is just a port of the Wii U game that no one played.
I know it's got
so good.
but this one now has Funky Kong mode.
Yeah.
So you get
handheld mode.
Yeah, so you got Funky Kong.
Literal handheld mode, yeah.
Yeah.
After that is City of Brass coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC on May the 4th. And after that, Conan Exiles coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One. May 8th.
That game
Josh, you like that game, right?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I've been playing it early access for a couple months now. It's huge, and there's so much to do. If you're a fan of those big open world games where you kind of share it with other people, you go in and you start gathering resources to build huts, to build just build your homestead and clothes and stuff like that. And it's also set in the world of Conan, so there's
like Conan Minecraft.
It kind of is like Conan Minecraft. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that kind of game, but that one I've really been enjoying a lot. I'm super pumped for the final code to come out and to jump right back in there. I haven't played in a little while, but it's because I knew that the final code was coming, and there were some stumbling blocks that I personally encountered that was kind of annoying, but despite all that, I did have a good overall experience, so I'm looking forward to the final.
Was this the one with the dick problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yes.
I remember the dicks.
Yes, you could definitely make your manhood go from whatever to Kong-like.
Whatever, yeah.
And
that game will forever just be the dick game to me now.
yeah, they've covered it up in North America.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's a COD piece now. Hangs down to your knees. It's awesome.
I played a little bit of it. It's interesting concept. I'm excited for more of the dick game.
Matt's just having all kinds of trouble right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys.
Conan dick game.
Okay, so how do I transition from the
pillars?
Talk about other pillars.
That's a nice transition there.
Other
girthy pillars.
Speaking of pillars, The next game coming out is Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire, coming to PC on May 8th.
I've heard lots of good things about that game. I feel like I should play it.
Yeah.
It's coming. May 8th. After that is Steins Gate Zero, game that was originally came out in 2015 on PS3 and all the PlayStation consoles. Is coming to PC on May 8th. After that, we got expansion coming for Destiny 2, Warmind coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC. May
Hey,
8th.
more shaders.
More emotes.
Yeah. Stupid Destiny.
After that, Last Encounter coming to PC on May 8th. And after that, we have another Mega Dimension Neptunia game coming.
These games will never die.
Yeah, they won't. I think it's Vir or VIIR coming to PS4 May 8th.
So for people who don't know, Neptunia is the one that was infamous back in the day because it's like Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo, I believe.
Yeah, it's like an avatar game for consoles.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they're like anime girls, and each of them represent the different consoles.
Right.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my. And we're closing that Google tab.
Okay. You looked at it, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. And last but not least is Raging Justice, coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on May 8th.
You got a couple more there, big guy.
I
Gotta look at the next page.
Oh yeah. I didn't scroll down, sorry. And I remember talking about Dokoma yesterday at the rec room.
Yeah.
So it's it's finally coming to PS4. It's not an exclusive for Xbox.
Non-exclusive.
It's
now.
coming. It's coming May 8th. So we're finally getting that. All the exclusives coming to PlayStation.
Another one where I cannot recommend this game more. Super cool little story game from Fulbright.
Yeah. And now the last but not least is AO International Tennis, PS4, Xbox One, coming May 8th.
Man, I need that
Should really
mouse
zoom
pad
out.
for that game. Mega Dimension Neptunia. That's pretty badass.
Well, thank you, Dennis, for going through that game's released. This looks like it's going to be a really busy week.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna get busier later in the month because of the those big games coming out. Because I know like all the Persona dancing games are coming out.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I've seen videos of these, and I've never wanted something so bad in my life.
Yeah.
Frick, it looks amazing.
Nice. Well, I would say that about wraps it up for this episode. Before we finish things off, though, we're going to announce our very first game giveaway. So to enter this giveaway is pretty simple. All you have to do is tweet at us, tweet at our Canadian Geek CST Twitter account with the name Pineapple Pizza to be entered into the giveaway. Yeah. The only thing Pineapple Pizza is going to be good for is getting you an entry into this giveaway.
Your attitude sucks.
You have until midnight Eastern time on May 5th to enter this contest, and then we're going to pick a winner when we record episode 8. And the winner will get to actually make a selection. They'll get to pick one game from our list of games. I believe it's all Steam. Pretty much it's all games that are on Steam, right?
Yeah.
I think is what it is. There were some Uplay as well.
Yeah, it's PC games.
Okay. But yeah.
They're all PC.
Yeah, it's pretty much
a masterpiece.
Pretty much it's all PC games, so to pick from. So so tweet at us the phrase Pineapple Pizza, and it'll get you entered into our contest. Now, if for those of you that have seen some new Marvel movie about a bunch of superheroes fighting some space guy, we're going to be doing a spoiler cast. It's going to be released a little later this week. So keep an eye out for that. We'll announce it on our Twitter Twitter account, and if you are following our podcast on your podcast app, you'll probably see a notification pop up once that episode drops. If you have not seen Infinity War, do like I'm going to do and skip over that episode, because out of the 5 of us, I have not seen it yet. It's probably going to be a little bit before I get to see it, so
just go see it.
I gotta find time.
Just go see it, everyone.
Yeah. I've heard it's been amazing.
Be like me and sleep through half of it.
I've heard it's an emotional roller coaster, though. That's what I've heard. So
it's a big movie
for the show.
I refuse to play your Chinese food mind games. No, and then. 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 You're really starting to piss me off, lady.
So, guys, if people wanted to connect with you online, where could they do so? Steph, let's start with you.
I am at Maple Thistles on basically everything, but I am most active on Twitter. Also, come hang out with me when I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Mixer/Maple Thistles.
Nice. Josh, what about you?
You can find me at pixelserial.com or on Twitter, where you'll find me more often than not at Xbox Canada. And
cool. Dennis?
I'm on Twitter at HunterSlasher13, reacting to finally watching Walking Dead finale, because I've been behind because of school, and I'll be reacting to other stuff as well.
Nice. Steve?
You can find me on Twitter at svegvari. That's where I'll be hanging out. Just hanging out.
On. And you can also catch me on Twitter at ReggieFeesaMeme. You can also, if you're on Reddit, you can grab me there under the username of Trainass. And be sure to give us a follow on Twitter. Our Twitter account is Canadian Geek CST. You can also grab us on our website at canadiangeekcst.wixsite.com/home, where you'll be able to find every episode of the podcast, as well as links to our Twitter and Mixer profiles and everything, little short bios and whatnot. So be sure to tune in next week, where not only are we going to announce the winner of our contest, but we may also end up discussing why pineapple is the worst topping on pizza.
Nope.
Yes.
Yes. And that'll be on the Canadian Geekcast.
No, and then. You're really starting to piss me off, lady.